welcome back guys to a new video. In this video we're going to be going over soloing for people who are just starting out guitar. If you're acoustic, electric, it doesn't really matter. In this video you have some resources to at least go about with your soloing journey. So I'm going to teach you a few scale patterns you can use. We're going to be discussing only scale patterns in this video. So whatever key the song is in, you just have to play the according scale. It's not a very it's an effective method for beginners, but if you want to get into more advanced soloing, you might have to start playing according to the chords that are happening in the background. I'll make a separate video on that. So the way I see it, there are two ways to soloing. There's just playing the scales and then actually playing the chords, playing the same scale pattern, but you're playing according to the chords that are in the background. So I'll go over the chords in a different video. We'll just be going over scales today. So first of all, we'll be going over the most basic scale, 2 notes per string, the minor pentatonic scale. Here it is in the A minor position. So this is one of the most basic scales. Lots of rock metal musicians, most of them use this scale. Pretty simple to learn, and you'll be able to create pretty interesting solos with it. So here's the pattern. So it starts off on the root note. Let's start on the E string. You can just if you playing a different key, let's say the song is in A minor, you're just going to find an A minor on the E string. So you should know your natural fret. You should know your note names on the low E string. So E, F, G, A. So we're going to do it on A. So 5, 8 on the E string. 5, 7 on the A string. 5, 7 on the D string. 5, 7 on the G string. 5, 8 on the B string. And then 5, 8 on the E string again. And then you just play it back. 8, 5 on the E. 8, 5 on the B. 7, 5 on the G. 7, 5 on the D. 7, 5 on the A. 8, 5 on the A. So if you want to play this pattern in different positions, you just need to find your root note and play the notes accordingly. So if I assign a finger, let's say each fret has a assigned finger. So 5th fret is E1, this 6th fret is 2nd, 7th fret is 3rd, 8th fret is 4th. So according to that, we'll have 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 4. I hope that's making sense. So just apply this pattern next. Let's say E minor. So if you're playing in E minor, then you'll have to play 1, 4, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 4. Right? So we'll play it in E minor is 12, 15 on the E, 12, 14, 12, 14, 12, 14, 12, 15, 12, 15 again. Same thing back down. 15, 12, 15, 12, 14, 12, 14, 12, 14, 12, and 15, 12. So that's the minor pentatonic scale. You can play in 2 positions if you're playing it. You can play whatever you're playing down. Like most of these strings, you can usually play that up an octave. It depends on how many frets your guitar has. So if you're playing in A minor, I can play the same thing in octave up. And the cool thing with E minor is that you can actually just play the same thing like open. So if I play something like, I can pretend that the open strings are the 12th fret. I hope you all know by now that open E string and 12th fret on the E string is the same thing, just an octave up. So if I play something like, I can play the same thing down here. So now that we've learned the minor pentatonic scale, let's try and improvise over it. First of all, what I want you to do is pause the video. You can practice for a few days or a few minutes or whatever, and just practice the scale. Really get it down. Play it up. Play it back down. You can play it different positions. Just really try and get the scale down. Understand the scale, shapes. on how to play it, and then you can come back to this video, and we'll be playing along with a backing track now. We'll have sort of a back and forth thing. So I'll play some lick, you can play some lick in response. Okay, so here we have a blues track in A minor. So what I want you to do is play the minor scale over this and really try to understand it properly. But now that you've played it over a couple times, you can just try and improvise, create some licks. It doesn't have to be super complex. It can be something as simple as just walking down the scale a little faster using hammer-ons and pull-offs. Or if you know what a shuffle is, you can use a shuffle as well. Basically what a shuffle is just muting your strings and you're going with this sort of thing, and you're just playing notes on top of that. So you can try and improvise. So I hope you've got understood that. So that's just me soloing. Now I'll give you a chance to solo on top of this. You can just create your own licks. You can really do whatever you want. So I hope you guys have got a rough understanding of how you can do it. I can show you guys a few pentatonic licks here. So, and one thing to note is that if you're soloing, you want to solo over. If you're watching this video, you should probably be someone who likes metal, blues, jazz, rock maybe, because you really don't want to be. If you're a pop player, you really don't, this video really isn't for you. You probably don't want to solo, so you have to solo accordingly. I'm playing blues style licks over a blues backing track, but if you're a metal player, you should play metal shred licks over metal track or jazz licks accordingly. So that's just something to point out. Now I'll be giving you guys a couple of licks. These are all in rock style. If you want something blues or some jazz licks, then I'll have some links in the description. So here's one lick. So essentially what that is this is happening in A minor pentatonic up an octave. Essentially what we're doing is we're barring the 17th fret of the B and G strings, B and E strings. We're only picking two notes. So we're I'm picking 18 on the E, pulling off, same thing on the B. Picking, pulling off, picking 18 on the B, pulling off. And then I'm ending it off with a bend on the 18th fret of the E string. You can also do a bend on the 18th fret of the B string. That's one lick. Another popular lick is this is a little bit more unconventional, but I really like this lick. I'm not exactly sure what it is. It's basically just, again, we're barring 17th fret. And we're doing this sort of circular motion, pulling off on the 18th fret of the E string, and then we're just coming back, pulling off, sweeping down from B and E, same thing. Another one of my favorite licks for blues especially. Essentially we're pre-bending, this is A minor, we're pre-bending 7th fret of the G string. We're walking down 5 on the G, D, 7 on the D. We're just walking down the scale. And we're ending off 5 on the E with lots of vibrato. Vibrato. So yeah, that's most of the licks you'll need for E minor pentatonic, for the minor pentatonic scale especially. If you stick within the scale, you actually quite a versatile scale, especially for beginners. This is Metallica. They use the scale as well. Blues players, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Hendrix is also used extensively. It's a very versatile scale, but it's a little bland. I mean, it's a beginner scale. It's the scale most beginners start out with, but you don't want to be playing the scale over everything. So I have a few more scale patterns I can show you that'll really up your game from just playing basic pentatonic scales to playing more advanced and better sounding scales. Now, if you're all familiar with music theory, or just like if you play keyboard or any instrument like guitar, you should know what the major scale is. It's the scale most beginners start out with on keyboard. On guitar, we don't really start off with the major scale. Most students start off with pentatonic scales and stuff. But it's a versatile scale because if you're the minor pentatonic can only be played in minor keys. There is a workaround. Let's say a song is in C major. You have to find your root C on the E string. You just move down 3 frets, okay? 3 frets. So E, 1 fret, B, 2nd fret A sharp, 3rd fret A minor. So you'll play the A minor pentatonic over C. Let's say the song is in, I don't know, let's say it's in A major. A, we have it on the E string, 1 fret, 2 fret, 3 fret. F sharp minor pentatonic. But this can be a little cumbersome. It works, but there's a workaround around it. We played a major scale. This is a C major scale. So that's one way to play it. Actually, a pretty simple pattern. So we're starting off with a C on this. C on the E string. If you know the major C major scale, it's all natural notes. So what I mean by natural, I don't mean any sharps. So if you know your note names up the neck, it should be a pretty easy pattern to learn. So we have C, 8th fret, 10th fret, 12th fret on the E string. Same thing on the A string. 8th fret, 10th fret, 12th fret. Then on the D string, we have 9th fret, 10th fret, 12th. Same thing on the G string. So it's a pretty simple pattern. 8, 10, 12, 8, 10, 12, 9, 10, 12, 9, 10, 12. Then on the B string, we have 10, 12, 13, 12, 10, 13. Okay? 12, 10, 13, 12, 10, 13 again. So what ends up happening is we have this. So You can transpose this in different keys. Let's take A major. So that's one way, major scale. You can also play it here. I don't really like the method. I like this method, especially if you play heavy metal, shred guitar. This scale is much better because it's symmetrical, right? It's symmetrical. You can create lots of interesting shred patterns with it, opposed to this. It's a little harder to create shred patterns with this scale, so I prefer this one. You can look up different versions, see which ones. See, you can look up different ways to play this scale in different positions. If you find this one a little too hard to play because stretch is it might be hard for beginners. You can look up some patterns online. So let's improvise over a backing track. Okay, so here we have a backing track in C major. First step is to listen to the backing track. Listen, play it over a couple of times, then you can improvise. You can start improvising. That's just an example. Now I'll give you a chance to play over it. I'll just play the chords. Remember, you don't have to think of these as scales. You can just think of these as tools you can use to create your own chords. So you don't have to play it all linear. You can play one note and like play the next. You don't have to follow this pattern. I hope that's making sense. You can play melodic in the scale. One thing to note is that major scale is often associated with happiness. Like happy sounds bright, vibrant. Minor is more dark, mysterious, used in metal. That doesn't mean you can't use minor for happy songs and vice versa. Tons of songs, especially metal songs, use major scales. It's just something to point out because if you're playing a solo that's a little sad, maybe a ballad or something, it'll be advisable to use something like minor, not major. It can be done, but it's advisable. So now I'm going to give you a chance to solo over this. Okay, so I hope that made sense. So now till now we've learned two scales. We've learned the minor pentatonic and the major scale. But I feel like there are two more scales which are essential that all beginning guitarists start out with. This fourth scale is a little bit unconventional, but I think it's really important. It's a very nice scale. It's an incredible scale, used in many songs. But this third scale is an important scale. You should probably learn this one. Fourth scale not as much. So the third scale is the minor scale. So the minor scale is one of the darkest sounding scales. Here the minor scale in A minor. This is the A minor scale. Sounds pretty evil. Here's how you play the scale. So starting on the fifth fret, you have to find your root again. You should know your names of your natural notes on the E string, especially low E string. I think you should learn up till 7. So E, F, G, A. So we found a root here, A. So here's the pattern: 5, 7, 8 on the A, 5, 7, 8 again on the A, 5, 7 on the D, and then on the G we have this different looking pattern: 4, 5, 7. Then on the B we have 5, 6, 7, 6, 7, 5, 6, 7, 5, 6, 8, sorry. And then on the E string we have 5. So one thing you notice is that in the minor pentatonic scale, we don't end on the root, but that's not the case for the major pentatonic scale, the major scale. It's true for the minor scale. We don't end it on the in the minor pentatonic we don't end on the root. Now, what do I mean by that? Let's take A minor. If you know your note names, you know that this is not an A. Usually when you play a scale it ends, if you're a piano player or a keyboard player, you know when you play a scale it ends on the note it starts with. But that's not true for the major scale. It ends on an F, starts on a C. This is a perfect fifth. For a minor scale it ends on a C. But for the minor scale, the major scale ends on a C. The minor scale, it ends on a A. So that's the minor scale. It's a little dark sounding. I just wanted to practice this a few times. This is one scale most guitar players they don't usually learn. They just learn the minor pentatonic scale and just try soloing over scales with that. But I feel like this is also a very important scale you should learn. You can practice it a few times. And now let's solo over backing track. Okay, here we have a similar backing track. One thing to point out, this is in C major, but you're playing in a minor scale. So you would think it would make sense to play C major. But as I explained already, if you have C major, you're going to transpose it down 3 frets. So 1, 2, 3. And now we have A minor. So this is going to be in A minor. So that's just an example. Now I'm going to give you a chance to solo over this. Okay, so that was an example. I hope you understood that. You should just play the scale over multiple times. Now this is the fourth scale. It's kind of a bonus edition, but I'll go over it anyways. Nigga, no! The fourth scale we're going to be learning today is the harmonic minor scale. Now this is a little bit more advanced. If you listen to neoclassical, metal, classical music, Yngwie Malmsteen, Michael Romeo Symphony X, so a little bit of Racer X as well, you should know the scale, right? Here's how the scale goes in A minor harmonic. So it sounds very, not sure how you can describe it, maybe Middle Eastern. There's a very distinctive sound to it. One thing, if you notice, when we play the minor scale, we have that, right? We have 5, 7, 8, 5, 7, 8, 5, 7. Here we have basically the same thing, but we raise up this note, this G note on the D string, up a semitone, so it becomes G sharp. Creates nice tension, which is resolved when you come back to the A string. This is just a little bit extra piece of information. This isn't really relevant if you're just learning the scale. So here's how you play the scale. So we have 5, 7, 8 on the E string. It starts off the same as the major scale, minor scale. So 5, 7, 8 on the E string. This is an A minor. 5, 7, 8. E string. A string 5, 7, 8. D string we have 6, 7. 6, 7 on the G string. Then we have 4, 5, 7 on the B string, on the G string. Then we have 5, 6 on the B string, and then we have this 4 on the E string, 5 on the E string. So 5, 7, 8, 5, 7, 8, 6, 7, 4, 5, 7, 4, 5, 7, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 4, 5, right? One thing you notice, as an octave, right? We have the G sharp, it rolls. So we have this thing here, and it comes back. We finish it off with the E note on the high E string, the octave, right? So that's one thing. So I'll be improvising over backing track. You do not need to improvise. This is a little bit more of an advanced scale. I would just wanted to point it out because it's an important scale, especially if you play rock or metal or whatever. So here we have a little bit more grooving backing track. One thing, if you notice, that was more of a grooving back track, is a little bit more happier. Still, I think it sounded fine with the minor pentatonic scale, the minor harmonic minor scale. It just goes to show that all these scales that work no matter what, they would work in most situations. Now, one thing I want you to do is just to practice. Like, if you want to solo properly, you should practice these scales through and through. You should be memorizing the shapes. So we have today we've learned I'll play all of these in C minor. Today we've learned the minor pentatonic scale. Once again, minor pentatonic, major scale, minor scale, and then harmonic minor. Those are all the scales we've learned today. So I wanted to practice these scales properly, memorize them thoroughly, and then just improvise over backing tracks and see what you find. Now, one more thing I would like to just say is this practice. This is an effective soloing method. What it is basically is that let's take an A root. So on the A string, we can go 5th fret on the E string. The octave to this, that means the next note up an octave, will be 7th fret of the D string. That's an octave. So you just play that 5th fret, 7th fret, and then I hope you all know that this. If I play something here, it's the same thing here, just up a couple octaves. So we'll just play that, okay? You can play the same thing again. So for G, it will be G string, 5th fret on the D string, 3rd fret of the high E string. Same thing for F. 1st fret, 3rd fret, 1st fret. This is called an octave triangle. So this is also an effective soloing method because you can take a pattern. Let's take. You can play it. So it's pretty effective. It's not a very effective way to solo, but it is an effective method that you can practice out. You can mess around with these notes. Sounds pretty interesting. You can create some interesting licks with them, but solo I'm not exactly sure. So you want to stick to these scales. As I said, that these scales will help you solo over a progression, but if you want to follow the progression more intently, you can follow on. You have to solo over the chords. As you all know, chords are going on in the background when I'm playing these backing tracks, and if you want to solo like properly over them, you need to be soloing according to the chords. Now, the way I taught is just with a scale, but if you want to be playing along with the chords, I'm going to be doing a separate video for that. And now we're going to be talking about triads, arpeggiating the chords. Like if I have something like this, if I have a B minor chord, you can arpeggiate it like that, or A minor. I'll teach you guys one lick in this video. I play this in the start of all. I think I play this in the start of all my videos. It's a sweeping lick. I hope you all know what a sweeping lick is. Sweep picking. If you don't know what sweep picking is, you probably want to skip this video. You want to skip this section. So let's take A minor. In A minor, we have this pattern. Okay, it's a staircase pattern. 14th fret of the A string or G string, 13 on the B, 12 on the E. Then we just sweep and hammer on to 17 on the E. That's an A minor arpeggio. Now, if you want to do this for, let's say, I'm not sure, C minor. Find your root on the G string and just play it, okay? So that's one video. So I hope you guys have understood how to solo. I've given you some resources, given you some backing tracks. Might leave a backing track description, backing track link in the description to solo over. I'm gonna practice these scales thoroughly. I'll be making a separate video for soloing over chords, like specifically over the chords. It sounds much more better. This is a beginner's guide. I hope you all understood the video, and thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.